Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down the first card of 2026 for the UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett. Not only is this the first card for the UFC in 2026, it's also the first numbered event. No longer pay-per-view. You don't have to pay for that crap no more. Well, except unless some major event like the White House. But instead, all you have to do is pay for a subscription on Paramount Plus. And I gotta say, I have my own Paramount subscription, and for what it's worth, I think it's a really good deal so far. What they have for the UFC and their content, being able to watch basically all the events and stuff from the 2000s, 2010s, etc. No longer having to, like I said, pay $90 or so for pay-per-view. You just have to buy the subscription. It's pretty nice. So this was also the first Paramount card. So hopefully, if all goes according to plan and these fights are as exciting as they could be, I think we can start off the year off with a bang. Overall, there's some great fights on this card. This main card is, in and of itself, is absolutely spectacular. And while the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, isn't the fight most people wanted in terms of what they represent, whoever wins this interim belt is going to fight Ilia Topuria next. It's still a fun fight, nonetheless. Now, this card did take a big hit with Kayla Harrison, unfortunately, having to pulling out with her fight with Amanda Nunes. I was so looking forward to bringing down that fight for you guys. But it is what it is, unfortunately. Still, some great matchups. Derek Lewis is on the card. John Silva versus Arnold Allen. Fantastic fight. Sean O'Malley, Song Yudong as the new co-main. Still a fantastic fight, nonetheless. And as the co-main, it works. And overall, some great prospects on this card as well. But without further ado, let's break down the first fight. In our first matchup, we have Ty Miller taking on Adam Fugitt. So this is going to be Ty Miller's UFC debut. He's currently 6-0 as a pro. He won his Contender Series via decision against Jimmy Drago 5 months ago. Pretty good performance overall. Very, very slick boxer in Ty Miller. Still very young, only 25 years old. And looks like he could be a problem. And like I said, still young, only 6-0, as I said. Now, he's taking on Adam Fugitt, who's unfortunately been kind of up and down as of recent in his career. Losing, now this is about 3.5 years ago, but losing to Michael Morales, though surprisingly, out of some of Morales' last few opponents, he's survived till round 3. TKO of Yusuke Kinoshota, but this is almost 3 years ago. Lost, got submitted by Mike Malott back at UFC 289. Beat Josh Quinlan in his last fight, which about 1 year and 7 months ago. Close decision. It was kind of a boring fight. Then in his most recent fight at UFC 318, got knocked out badly by Islam Dulatov. Now, like I said, now he plays another, I wouldn't say gatekeeper per se, but checking up a prospect, if you will. So looking at their styles specifically, starting with Ty Miller, he is I'd say pretty calm and structured for someone this early in their MMA journey. Not necessarily UFC, but just their MMA career. He's not flashy by any means. He's a range-based striker who relies on fundamentals, specifically his boxing. He's got a strong. Miller has a strong jab, straight punches down the pipe, and patient shot selection. You saw the fight with Jimmy Drago, and while Drago had a chin on him, taking all those punches, Ty Miller's slick striking was on display. Very good, as I just mentioned, good straight shots down the pipe. Very good at waiting for the perfect opportunities to fire off combinations on Drago. Miller likes to work from long range, and it shows with his stats. You look at it, 6'2" with a 77.5 inch reach. He's going to have a reach advantage against majority of his opponents in the welterweight division. He's very comfortable touching from the outside, measuring opponents, and slowly building damage instead of chasing the finish early. Now, stylistically, I would say Miller's biggest strength is control, and I use that more as an umbrella term, like control of distance, control of tempo, and control of risk. He doesn't overextend. Miller doesn't panic when pressure. When opponents step into his range, Miller meets them with clean, straight shots and immediately circles off. Whether that's kind of like an Olay, if you will, like if an opponent's coming forward, you use your lead leg, twist, and just sidestep, basically. His footwork now isn't extravagant, but it's functional, and that matters a lot at welterweight, I think. And Miller's also showed solid defensive awareness. He keeps a good tight guard. He uses his frame well in the clinch. He doesn't give up position easily when opponents try to level change. Now, contrast that with Adam Fugitt, is pretty much the opposite. Fugitt's more of a pressure-based, gritty guy who thrives in messy fights. He's not very interested in long-range chess matches. Now, that being said, Fugitt, it's kind of interesting. Fugitt almost matches Miller in both size and reach. He literally has a 77-inch reach, and normally Fugitt's gonna beat most of his opponents in the reach department, but not in this case by like 0.5 inches. And also just an inch shorter at 6'1". But continuing on with his style, Fugitt more so wants to get inside, force exchanges, and just turn fights into uncomfortable brawls. Now, in comparison to Miller, Fugitt isn't nearly as clean of a striker, but he's dangerous because of his willingness to commit. Fugitt throws with intent, especially when he senses momentum shifting his way. And he's shown durability in the past, but I don't think that's going to work out too well for him as of recent. Just because, like, you look at his last few losses, he's gone finished in all of them. And especially in the duel at tall fight where he got smoked in a round. Now, granted, I think Miller might have a little trouble getting Fugitt out of there, but that is something to keep in mind. All right. Also, where I think Fugitt can make this interesting is with the pressure and his wrestling. He's not a dominant wrestler, but he uses takedown attempts to break rhythm and slash force reactions. And even failed shots can back opponents up or force them against the fence. And, you know, when your opponent has a fear of the takedown or is aware of the takedown, it always opens up the striking. That's why wrestlers are sometimes better strikers than the actual elite strikers, because of the threat of the takedown. So that is something I think Fugitt could use in this. Now, I think this fight just really comes down to whether Fugitt can consistently get inside Miller's range. If Fugitt can close distance early, make Miller uncomfortable, and turn this into a clinch-heavy or pocket-heavy fight, then I think Fugitt's experience could be a real factor. And that's where Miller hasn't been tested much yet. Extended, ugly exchanges against a guy who refuses to go away. Now, Miller experienced this once. That was against Jimmy Drago, because Drago refused to get out of there. But I don't know. But I certainly think that experience is going to help Miller. Obviously, in the long run, it's going to help him greatly. But against another similar gritty guy in Adam Fugitt, it'll be interesting to see how Miller does with that. But I think the problem for Fugitt is that Miller is built to deal with exactly this type of pressure. Miller's straight line striking, especially his jab, is tailor-made to punish just forward movement with absolutely no head movement. And because Fugitt, a pressure-heavy guy, more or less durable at times, like I said, not against Dulov, but boy, he does not move his head. And if you're going to go against Miller, who has good boxing, he's going to jab his face off. And because Miller doesn't chase knockouts, he is not going to overcommit and give Fugitt an easy opportunity for either a takedown or a counter. And I think another key factor is pace. Fugitt tends to get to a hot start, trying to establish dominance early. Miller, on the other hand, is very comfortable letting rounds develop. And I think over the course of 15 minutes, I think that difference matters. If Fugitt doesn't have a clear success early, he risks slowing down. And a slowing pressure fighter is exactly what Miller wants to see. I think on the ground, Fugitt may look to mix in his wrestling, but I think Miller's balance and defensive awareness, at least at this level, should allow him to either stuff attempts or quickly work back up to his feet. And even brief clinch exchanges likely favor Miller, who is going to use his frame and positioning well instead of engaging in prolonged scrambles. So I think my official prediction here, I got to go with Ty Miller. Excuse me. This just feels like a fight where Adam Fugitt might make things competitive, but I think Ty Miller is going to consistently do more of the right things. His style is built to neutralize pressure fighters who rely on grit and toughness. And I think as long as Miller stays disciplined, and everything we've seen suggests he should be able to keep this fight at range and pick Fugitt apart over time and avoid those wild exchanges that Fugitt needs to win. So my official prediction, I'm going to go with Ty Miller. I think he's going to get a late TKO. I don't think he's a one-hitter quitter. I think he's more so just going to build damage over time and eventually Fugitt cannot take too much more, and he eventually gets TKO'd. Oh, say late second round, third round. Now, if Miller just knocks him out like that in a round, then that'd be impressive. But I don't think that's going to happen. And so once again, I'm going to pick Ty Miller, and I'm going to pick him via late TKO. But with that being said, that's been my first breakdown of the card. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win. With that being said, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. And remember, stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see you all next time.